again, thank you guys so much for being here. When I came in, I was telling Audrey, I was like, man, it's this is a great space, and it's like a lot of people here, which is really awesome. I've been coming since the first meeting, and just to be able to see the growth and see all the beautiful faces in the room is really exciting. And so I'm really honored, thank you, to be the first person to be able to present here in the space. And so I'm gonna dive right in. And today, the purpose is to introduce you to the concept of the 12-week year. And it sounds like an oxymoron. It's been something that I've been doing for like 25, Lord have mercy, 2.5 years, right? And so I just want to first go through and introduce, okay, that did not work the way I thought it was going to be, but it's all good. We'll work through this. And if this doesn't work, I have notes and we'll be fine. So I'm Sarissa Latoya McInnes. I am an interior designer. I do luxury interior design, primarily kitchen and bathroom remodels. Kitchens are my jam because I am the chef designer. I am a trained chef and interior designer. I cook all the time. I have a YouTube page called Abundant Interior Designer where I share all of my life, both the mentorship that I do for Christian creatives, which is in business and marketing, and I live my whole self online because that's how I feel everybody should live their self. Now, do I think that you should have a little bit of things that you keep to yourself? Yeah, I'm not telling all my business, okay? This is not a journal online, but what it is the space for me to be able to share myself and show that you can tell people who you are, what you are, and what's in your toolkit. And so that's a little bit about me. I've been designing now for 20 years, and I've had my business for 15. So I know a little bit of something. Now, when you all saw this, whether it came up on Facebook, whether you are a current, whether you're a current member, my question is, who in here has ever heard of the 12-week year before? I just want to read the room. Oh my gosh, that's excellent. Okay, so I have a whole room of newbies. I don't know, it just didn't dawn on me. I should have put a copy of the book on my presentation, but I didn't. I actually own the book on Kindle and on Amazon, but not the hard copy, which is cool. But it's the 12-week year. It's written by two business partners, Brian and Michael, and they are some really fantastic business coaches. They started out in business, running their company, and they were trying to figure out a way for them to be successful, and also for their team to be successful and efficient, and for them to hit big goals fast and well. And so over a very long period of time, they tried and tested, and they came down to the 12-week year. And I'm going to explain a lot of the principles and what led them to having this term, the 12-week year, because it is a little weird. It does sound a little off, and it sounds kind of like an oxymoron. Would y'all agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right? That's probably what intrigued you to come into this space and hear more about it. So I just want to set some expectations for today. I am not about to teach you all the mechanics of the 12-week year, because I went through a course called the Accelerator course, and it took us 12 to 14 weeks to run through that course. So I would not do you justice by teaching you the whole program. I'm gonna talk at the end about an opportunity for us to join and come into a small accountability group together. And in that space, I will help walk with you as a peer. I am not a certified coach. I just know the program, and I've been doing it for 2.5 years. And in that coaching program, I actually did coach with Brian and Michael and some other certified coaches that they have already trained within that program. So I feel that I am equipped to be able to share the knowledge and help you guys try out your first week here. during today's session, I'm going to share how the first week year allowed for me to write this book in a 12-week period of time. And to be frank, I actually wrote this book in 3 weeks. Wrote and edited and illustrated in 3 weeks because of the principles that I learned in a 12-week year. So this is not kitschy.
The computer.
It's fine. Okay, great. So this is, so like, it's not kitschy, it's actually actionable, which is really great. So we'll go through some of that. So like I said, I'll let you know how that goes. So again, 12 weeks crammed into a year. Like, I thought it sounded intense. What did y'all think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Yeah? It sounded intense, but also, again, it sounded a little interesting, right?
Yes.
Did anybody get the book? Okay, we got the book. All right, so that's good. I admonish you to start reading it, dig into it. They make it really easy, but accountability and being in a group of people, and even Audrey can attest to this, is really what makes it better and makes it your experience better. Now, let's get into the meat. So, one of the things, we had one of our meetings, and we had this whole conversation, and we were talking about goal setting, and one of the young ladies in our group had made mention that she wasn't quite sure like how to set goals, right? And I think that goal setting is, I don't know, for me, it's been one of those like real fleeting things of how to do and how to get right. And although I've been in business for 15 years, I still need some help. And so a lot of times we get into this blame game because we tend to look at ourselves and say, I'm the problem. And then we say that I'm the problem because I'm not managing my time well. I'm not being disciplined well. I'm not being consistent the way that I'm supposed to be. And the truth of the matter is that that's not the case. How many of you all own a business? All right, quite a few of you. How many of you all, if you don't, those of you that didn't raise your hands that own a business, how many of you all do well in the businesses that you work for and support? Excellent. So that tells me one thing. You can stop telling yourself when it comes to setting goals and you're not achieving them, that you're not good at time, you're not good at discipline, and you're not good at consistency. Because all of these things are necessary for you to be the boss women or whatever we say it right now. That's what it takes for you to be here and in this room. You already have it. So what you need to do is you need to learn and realize that there's a new way in order for you to manage it. Now, the 12-week year is really cool because it condenses your entire year or your goals or your viewpoint into a smaller container. One of the major issues of thinking about your year-long goals, right? It's January right now. We're all like, new year, new me. I'm gonna lose 60 pounds by the time this year is over. I'm gonna do $300,000 in sales. I'm gonna sell 10 houses. I'm gonna do this. Like whatever the case may be, whatever your goal. You have all these big goals in January. And like in January, you're hype. The gyms know you're hype. Everybody's out here at the gym. They get all our money at the beginning of the year. And then by March, all of those new people are not there. Why? Because the container is way too big for the goal. So what Brian and Michael have decided to do, and what I have truly embraced, as you can tell, is I've decided to take my goal and put it in a manageable container. Because what happens when we make these long goals, they're not lofty, they're not unreasonable, they're not unattainable, but you're hype in January, you're feeling it in February. By September, you're like, oh Lord, help. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I haven't made it where I need to be yet. And so you're scrambling. So you're trying to get your life together so that December 31st comes and you achieve what you're supposed to achieve. You're stressed. You feel a lot of pressure. You feel a lot of overwhelm. And you're like, what? And then you start that cycle back over again? Who wants to do that? That's part of the reason why we think that cycles are bad. But let me tell you, cycles are not bad, but that's not part of this conversation today. If you want to ask me what I think, you can ask me later. But cycles are actually not bad. They're very good. It's bad when we get into the incorrect cycles. So, once you get down and you realize, okay, I've got it in the wrong container. Not doing this goal setting thing to my best capability. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna read the book. I'm gonna try the accountability group. You then begin to manage your time in that 12-week year. So one of the things that they do in the 12-week year is before you even start the year, before you even start your goals, you sit down, pen and paper, on your computer, whatever medium you like to use, and you map out what your goals are. And then you map out a very small amount of tactics, not tasks, not to-do lists. I am a post-it note, to-do list person. I put 15 to-do tasks on the list every day. Who else is like me? Okay? Guess what? Michael told me that is too many tasks. Erase that. Go back and try again. So for me to write my book, I ultimately had 9 tactics to write my book. One of them was as simple as writing for an hour a day. Another one was schedule time to write. Not write the outline. Okay, so on Monday at 10 o'clock, I'm going to write the outline. I'm going to write chapter 1. And then on the second, week 2, I'm going to write chapter 3 and 4. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to research this and I'm going to do that. No. The 9, like they have you drill down your tactics. And again, if you come to the accountability group, we'll work together as a team to help you drill down and get those things in order, because it is hard, especially if you're like me and the book writers, the authors were like, Sarissa, you got too much happening. That ain't it. So I will help you through that. But what happened is when I was able to drill down those tactics to those 9 tactics, I could see so clearly. My goal was now locked in and in focus. And the other thing that they had us do is we were only allowed to do 2 goals, max. Now, I know that sounds a little weird. I'm just gonna pass through this a little bit. But I know that sounds a little weird. 2 goals. I was like, that is unreasonable, okay? Because I am out here doing the Lord's work and I need more than 2 goals. And Brian said to me, he said, that's nice. However, you're out here doing the Lord's work and you need to work. So if you're only working on the goal that you have set before you to push yourself and your business forward, you're not going to have time to do the Lord's work. So I'm not going to have time to design. I'm not going to have time to coach. I'm not going to have time to do those things because I'm out here trying to do all my tactics for 3, 4, 5 different goals. It just doesn't make sense. You set yourself up for failure. And not to mention the fact, I'm a wife, Some of y'all are mothers. I have things that I do at my church. I have other volunteer events. Who has to, like, it's unrealistic when we try to say we're going to do all of these things. So in one 12-week year, the goal is to keep yourself to 1 or 2 goals. And so for my first 12-week year, I did one personal goal, it was a weight loss goal, and then I also did this book writing goal. And I was able to accomplish both of them because I was laser focused. And that is the point, is to be laser focused. And so this slide here says, less does not mean smaller vision, right? So my ultimate goal back in 2023, when I did my first 12-week year, was not only to write the book, but I also wanted to launch my mentorship program. I also wanted to be able to coach all of these wonderful Christian creators. I wanted to do all of these things, but the first thing I needed to do was write the book before I could do anything else. And so it didn't diminish my vision. It helped me lock in to get to the bigger vision. So I just want to make sure that we know that. And then what's really cool is that when I locked in, I began to have momentum. I began to move. Okay, I went from not writing for an hour a day to writing an hour a day. And still, when I'm in a writing season, I implement that habit again. In terms of my weight loss goal, I created some different things and habits in order to make sure that my health was maintained, make sure my eating habits were maintained. I did my first 12-week year back in 2023, and I'm still maintaining those same habits all of this time later. One of the really cool, I'll say, side effects of doing the 12-week year is that you're building habits. I had some colleagues that were in my coaching class with me that were wanting to close $50,000, $100,000 in their 12-week year. And they began, some of their tactics were calling 100 people a week and certain things like that. So now, after that time has passed, they created that new habit of calling 100 new cold leads a week, and they still do it. It's now a part of their daily routine. And the cool thing is about the mind is that we need about 3 months to establish new habits, to get rid of the old and establish the new. So that's the other reason why we don't want to onboard and cloud our mind with so many goals, because what we're really trying to do is, one, reach some real goal, but also we're trying to become a better self on our way to that new goal. And in order to do that, we have habits. And so I'm going to close right here on this part about starting small. I'm not done yet, but I'm going to close on this starting small part because it was a really hard thing for my do-getter self. I don't know if anybody has heard of Strength Finders 2.0, where they talk about, I see you there, they talk about like what your character makeup is. My number 3 strength is achiever. And as an achiever, that means that I'm out here every day. I start at 0, and if I don't get certain things done, then I am like losing my mind. So I have a hard time giving myself grace because I'm an achiever. And so setting these small goals made me feel like, wow, what are you doing, Sarissa? How are you going to get where you're going quickly? Because there's some things that we need. True, there's some things that we need, some goals that we have that are finance backed, that we want to be able to do to achieve. And in order for us to get there, we think we have to take the fast way. The truth is that a fruit tree, and this is an illustration from my book, a fruit tree starts as a seed, but it gets big. And then that tree has a whole orchard inside of it because every single one of those fruits has new seeds. And so that's why every 12-week year, you have a new small beginning, because you start off at 0, but 0 is good. Zero means that you have an infinite ability to be able to do more. That's why I love the 12-week year, because you really can do more with less and feel good about it. Not be stressed when the calendar tells you that you should be stressed. It's great. Now, I talked a lot about the accountability that came within the accelerator program that I was in, and it felt really good. It was able to, we were able to come in, we were able to check in with each other, we were able to be like, what's going on? How are you? Where are you at? What do you need help with? Oh man, that's awesome, good job. Way to go, way to rock the week. And it just feels really good when you're in that kind of space, whether you're doing well or whether you're doing not so well and you have some room for improvement. It's really great to have people who are cheering you on along the way, because as Audrey said at the top of the show, we're small business owners, most of us. We are solopreneurs or have very limited staff. Our spouses, our friends have no real idea what we do or what our day looks like. And because of that, when you get ready to set goals, especially goals where you're trying to scale or do something really big or really scary, you feel like you're doing it by yourself. But when you have a group of people that are together, and as I said, these people that I were with, some of them were mortgage brokers, some of them were realtors, some of them had really cool businesses, some of them were even retired and wanted to do the 12-week year so that they could manage their life and their retirement and still be impactful people in the world. And it was really great being able to feed off of each other and work together. And it is the reason why I was able to write the book, because I had somebody like, hey, how's it going this week? You know? And it helped me stay accountable to the group and to myself. One of the things that, and I'm gonna pause right here, I know I moved to the next slide, but one of the things that Brian and Michael really teach in their program is self-accountability. So in the 12-week year, there's also metrics, because this is not, again, just some wild oxymoron that they made up. There's like a whole entire metric system where you make your goal and then you have those tactics and you grade yourself on how many of those tactics that you did each week. And each week you get a score. And then within those goals, like for me, this current 12-week year, I want to grow my YouTube page. And so every week I have a metric. I have to go, I have to put in how many new subscribers I have, because I can't just say I want to grow it. I have to have some tool in order when I look back on the end, I say, oh, okay, this is how I made it there. And so when I was losing weight, there I put in weight loss. I want to lose this much weight, and then there's a metric where you can be able to watch the weight go off. And so it's really great. Their system is really great. As I said, it is a robust system, but it works. And it looks scary on the outside, but once you get in, whew, it's delightful. I really, really enjoy it. Now, one thing else that I enjoy, now moving to this slide, about the 12-week year is this. Is it just me? I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Or when we're in our big, huge container, the 12-month year, and we're planning our year and we're going through it, does anybody else feel exhausted when we go Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Anybody else like look at their calendar and it's like, when am I supposed to even review Q1? Because it's Q2 and I've got to do what I'm supposed to be doing in Q2. The 12-month calendar gives us no time to breathe and look at what is happening. This is the reason why we have the right, the ability to step ourselves out of the 12-month mayhem and into something different. So the 12-week year is 12 active active weeks. Then there's a 13th week built in. And in the 13th week, what you are supposed to do is review. Just a day, just 30 minutes to an hour. You review the metrics. You review your numbers. You review how you did towards the goal. You celebrate what you achieved. You pause. You take it all in. Then you rest. One of the things that the world doesn't teach us right now is that rest is important. Hustle is a lie, okay? Rest is the business strategy. Rest is what's going to launch you forward. And I love the 12-month year because that aligns with one of my core beliefs as a coach. Rest is where it's at. Now, after you rest, 30 minutes to an hour, maybe your first or second go around, you may need an hour or two. You'll sit, you'll reset, and you'll plan your next 12 weeks. Because when you start day one of your 12 weeks, you already have everything in order. You already know your goals. You already know your tactics. So when you show up on day one, week one, all you see is, what does Teresa have to do today? What do I have to do this week? Not what do I have to do this year? Not what do I have to do over these 12 weeks? What do I have to do this week? The brain has such an easier journey in only looking at what's finite and in front of them. The brain cannot really perceive all of this out here. We need blinders, like horses, we need blinders to keep us focused. And that's exactly what the 12-week year does. But you do that, reset, right here in this 13th week. So when you hit week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, you are hitting your goal. If you work the plan, you're gonna do it. This is evidence. I did it. Now, here's one thing, okay? It's January 14th, right? My man Teresa's here telling us about this 12-week year. We already into Q1. I told y'all, don't worry about Q1 now. And I'm telling myself this too, right? Now, why did I have to tell myself this? Because I hit all of the negative points on. I'm sure I made Brian and Michael be like, what? Because y'all can tell I'm talkative, so I'm asking all the questions, okay? It might have been 40 or 50 people on the Zoom call, but baby, they knew my name. And I asked the questions. And one of the questions I was like, excuse me, you started this program in August, and I'm perplexed because when do I start? We're in the middle. We're at the end of the year in the middle. I'm stressed. They're like, you work through your tactics and you start today. So I actually started my first 12-week year on August 21st. And it ended November 12th. It ran in between Q3 and Q4. And guess what? It didn't matter. My book came out, my book was published on October 28th. So my book was published long before I even finished the 12-week year. And I just want to give a piece of transparency here. For my book, all I literally had was the idea. This book is called Navigating the Liminal Places. And all I knew is that I wanted to talk about liminal places. I didn't have a draft, an outline, nothing. I also had transcriptions from about 10 different lessons that I had done on the subject matter in Clubhouse, but they weren't transcribed. I had not listened to them since I delivered them, and if y'all had seen my chicken scratch notes, nobody was writing the book from that. I literally started from zero, and I was able to accomplish my goal because of the 12-week year. So you can start anytime, all right? Now, as I've been talking this whole way through, there's accountability in community, right? And so we had this opportunity for us to come together. As many that want to join can. And if we need 2 groups, we'll have 2 groups. Because Audrey has done the 12-week year before, as well, many times rather. And so we're just here to help us walk hand in hand, arm in arm, and tell you, work with you all and tell you how the 12-week year has helped and benefited us so that it can help and benefit you to do more. And that's it. That's it for me. This is all my contact information. If you all have any questions, please feel free, ask me, and I'm going to turn the floor over to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions while she's here?
Yes.
How are these accountability groups going to work?
It's still a work in progress. It's going to be Zoom or Google Meet, and we'll meet once a week because once a week check-ins are great. Likely what we'll do when we meet is we'll have a portion of time where we'll go into some of the information from the 12-week year, and then we'll have a portion of time where we are able to ask questions and just see where people need help in making sure that they stay that they stay aligned and on course with what it is that they have going on.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes?
It's going to be like a book club style where we all just kind of read through it, and do we read like a chapter a week type
So what I would like it once you let me know, I need to go back and review the book again. The book is like 2.5 years past and I haven't looked at it. That's the honest truth. So what I'll likely do is have you read like a portion of the book before we actually start. So we'll have a delayed start. We have no intention to start this group next week or even the week thereafter. I want for you to, especially since all of you lovely ladies, only like I think one of you raised your hand to say that you had heard of it or heard of the book. So I really, if you want to join the accountability group, I would admonish you to get the book, Kindle or Kindle or the physical book. I have the Audible because I have lots of books in all 3 formats. So, but I don't recommend the Audible alone for this particular type of book because there's a lot of charts, graphs, and there's just a lot of very visual information within the book. So you want to get the print copy or the Kindle copy and read that. Once we all come together, I will let everybody know how much I'm going to assign for you to read, and then we'll jump in from there.
It's not that long of a book. It's like 120 pages. It's a smaller book. So it's manageable.
I saw it, I was intrigued, and I read it in a very short period of time. Mm-hmm.
So are we just contacting you to tell you?
Yeah, you can just contact me, and I'll say after I'll get your names and just let me know. Mm-hmm.
So will the first meeting be where we sit down and we all put our goals together so
Yes.
we can have that conversation?
Yes, I will.
I've already
Yes.
Started a 12-week goal. Actually, a women's group I'm in.
Oh,
That's
cool.
what we're working on. So this is perfect timing.
Excellent, excellent. And so even with that, like if you were to join our group, so I would say that so you don't need to start over. You can just jump in and we can fill in and we can get you right in alignment with the whole program. Because when I went through the year, there were people like yourself that already were on week 3 and week 4, and they still benefited very greatly. Especially when we had the coaches and just people who knew about the system. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Yes.
So I do and teach vision boards. Is there any? Because I'm trying to. While you're doing, I'm trying to process like how can I relate or. What are your thoughts on vision boards, and is that anywhere in that process of this 12-week?
So that's a very good question. And I'll say this. So I do the 12-week year,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I also do a yearly annual plan
Mm-hmm.
for my numbers and for my metrics for my business. Excuse me. Are you guys my water? Oh, no.
Oh, Where did,
It's right
oh,
behind you, I think.
It was behind me. Ha! Ha! Thank you.
Teresa, I made a little clipboard.
Oh, thank you.
If people want to
Thank
put
you,
their
yes.
email down.
So so I did a 12-week year for annual planning.
okay.
So for me, in my own personal life, vision boarding would sit in that annual, long-term realm. Goal setting is what I sit in the 12-week year. But so if there's something that I want to achieve, a goal that I'm working on in a smaller form, I put that in a smaller container. And I still use annual planning. I've got to know how much I need to budget a year for marketing. I got to know how much I need to budget a year for the staff person that I want to hire. I've got to know those annual things, and so those things go in there. And then I have an annual vision board that I do, and I have a long-term vision board that I do as well. This 12-week year just kind of helps me get it together. Now, if somebody wanted and felt the need to do a capsule vision board for that 12 weeks, I don't see a reason why not. One of the things that one of the principles that I didn't go over in the 12-week year is that they do have you vision cast for yourself, for your business, and for your future. So while you are working on, like I said, on that 12-week capsule, they do have you write a long-reaching vision statement, and so they work in in alignment with one another. It's just when we're trying to set a goal and start from January, and the goal wants to be by December 31st, it's really hard. Our brain just can't compute it, and so then it begins to tell us I have a lot of time. So you procrastinate, you renegotiate, you spend time doing other things than being laser focused on this one thing. But yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? Nope. Oh yes, I'm sorry.
On the business side of the goal planning, how do you get buy-in from your staff, your team? Are you sharing this with them? Are you having them do that? Obviously, business goals are for the whole business.
So, good question. I am a staff of one. However, there were many people in my small group that had staff, and so you essentially, like, let's say you had something that you wanted your team member to work on, then you would sit with them and you would say, hey, this is what I need you to work on in this 12-week period of time. What do you need to do to get there to help them get buy-in? And then I think Audrey can probably speak to that as well, because her brokerage firm actually utilizes the program, and they utilize it as a whole. So,
and I think there is, if I remember correctly, again, like, I'm a business of one, but if I remember correctly, there's like team sections at the end of each chapter, and it'll walk you through how you should approach it with your team. And so it's not just an individual goal setting thing, they have that in there as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want them to follow the vision too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
100%. And even 12-week year has a program that's called Achieve. And Achieve is how you're able to, like, watch through, look over your metrics and all of that. And they have a whole section set up. Are you setting a goal for a team? Or are you setting a goal for an individual? And so, but as she said, the basics of it, you can see. I would encourage you to get a book, get a book for your team, have them read it as you go through the process. And if you were to join our accountability group, take what you learn. So have them, if it was me, I would have my team delayed, like, by a week or by a couple of days, so that I could get the information, I can embody it, and then I can teach it to my team. Anybody else? Good question, though. Nobody else? Man, thank you all so much. Audrey.
Thank you. I really appreciate you sharing that. It was definitely a good recap for me, because it's been a little while since I've done one. But I am going to be sharing a little bit of the